Welcome in to Leaders Talks, where I chat with members of ETFs.com top 100 financial advisor list. I'm Kristin Myers, editor-in-chief of ETF.com, and I'm here today with Andy Millard, principal at Andy Millard Advisory. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
You kidding me? It's my joy to be here.
So I want to ask a little bit about your career. Why did you get into being a financial advisor?
Purely by accident, honestly. I mean, I was an educator. Financial advice is my second career. I was a teacher. My two degrees, my undergraduate and graduate degrees, are in theater. I was an actor, that sort of thing. And so I was North Carolina's first full-time junior high school drama teacher. I've been saying that for a very long time, and no one has ever contradicted me. So as long as they don't contradict me, I'm going to keep saying it. Yeah. And so I was a classroom teacher for about 7 years, and then I became an administrator. I was an assistant principal for a few years. I was a principal for a few years. I was a high school principal, and then I left the school system. And as I left the school system, I was looking for something. I needed a job. I didn't know what to do. And one of the parents of one of my students said, "Hey, I'm a broker and you can come and work with me and I'll teach you how to do it." And I said, "Oh, okay." I didn't have anything better going. So I said, "Sure, go, I'll do it." I had never taken economics or finance course or anything. I like to say I went to the Abraham Lincoln School of Finance because I just kind of read books and stuff. So got licensed, and I was a broker, and that was back in the mid-90s. And that didn't work out with that particular person, but within a few years, I discovered the RIA channel, how you can, charge a fee for your advice and for your management and sell your business when the time is done. And that's, so I fell into it and I learned about it as I went. And it took me about 3 or 4 years to really kind of figure out what the heck I was doing. I'm still figuring it out.
No, I love that though, because I think so many people think that investing in money and finance is just this big thing that they can't learn. And obviously they can. You don't have to have a PhD in economics in order to learn. So how similar would you say educating or being a teacher is to what you do as an advisor?
I think that's a great question because, as I say, my degrees are in theater, acting, performing, and also in history. Mm-hmm. And those kind of liberal arts type of topics give you an opportunity you become a whole person. And the value in what we as advisors do, in my opinion, is that we are able to have empathy to talk with and listen to and respond to our clients because they're worried. They're not worried whether you know what you're doing. They assume that you know what you're doing when they come to see you. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called you and set up an appointment to come and see you. So I think the real gift that a good advisor can have is that you just listen and that you pay attention, you understand. So knowing that, or having that, some of that's something that you cannot even teach. So being able to have that is the most important thing, because you can learn all the other stuff. And that's what happened with me. I just learned it over the years.
So part of the reason that you're on this list is because you use a lot of ETFs in your client portfolio. So I have to ask, what is it about exchange traded funds that you like so much?
As someone who was kind of self-taught, when ETFs really started kind of taking off in the early 2000s, I really paid attention to that because, they've got all these things that traditional mutual funds do not have. And I've never been a stock picker. Every time I've tried to pick a stock, it's been a stupid idea and it never works out. So I let somebody else do that. And I learned that indexes and the lower the cost, the better. And so with ETFs, more transparency, more liquidity, lower costs in many cases. I mean, what's not to like? And I really started learning about ETFs at the very first Inside ETFs conference in 2005 at the Westin Diplomat Hotel in Hollywood, California, put on by ETF.com. I attended the first 2 or 3 and learned so much, and I've been really a fan of ETF.com ever since.
So do you have a favorite fund?
I do have a favorite. I have a few favorite funds. I love VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index. I love SGOV, which is the iShares short government fund. Use that as kind of a money market alternative. There are now some brand new money market ETFs out there that are available.
Capital did launch MMKT, which is the first money market ETF. It is also a nominee for the ETF.com awards. I noticed
that. I noticed that. And also just in the last couple of days, I think Vanguard came out with a couple, and now iShares has come out with one. So that's something that's, really short-term interest rates.
Right.
You can get, 4 or 5% for taking almost no risk. I love that. So yeah, there are a bunch of ETFs. I use essentially the same 7 ETFs in every one of my client portfolios, and depends on the percentages, depending on, how aggressive or conservative we want to be with them.
You're not alone, by the way, for loving VTI. We hear that repeatedly. It's an easy way to own the entire market. And as my old mentor, Sam Rowe, used to say, markets usually go up. So
yeah,
it's an easy way to invest.
Why do you want to make it hard on yourself, right?
Andy, last question for you, because it's one of my favorites. I love the answers that I've gotten from it. What would you say is your worst or your biggest or maybe your funniest financial mistake that you've made in your life?
Running for Congress. I'm a Democrat, and this profession, as you know, is not necessarily a hotbed of Democratic thought. And I live in a Western North Carolina, very heavily Republican area. So it was a dumb thing to do on many levels, especially financially, because I did sell my practice. I did get paid for it. I really appreciated that. But by cutting myself off earlier than normal, I cost myself, I'm sure, a good chunk of change. Have I ever regretted it? Absolutely not. It was a dumb financial move, but I'm telling you what, running for Congress was the experience of a lifetime. Traveled around the whole district, met so many hundreds and hundreds of people, and learned a lot about so many things. So, sometimes you make stupid mistakes, and but it doesn't matter. I haven't lost any meals. We're doing just fine. So
and I think that's really the big lesson that everyone needs to take away, because I think people are afraid that the older that you get, that if you make a mistake, that it's going to be life ending, and you're just going to show, no, you can pick yourself back up and continue on.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, I'm enjoying this version of my business probably more than anything else, because I can do this part-time and still take care of people and help people and get recognized by awesome organizations like ETF.com. Holy cow, what a life this is. It's so awesome.
Well, we are so happy to have you on our top 100 leaders list. Andy Millard, principal of Andy Millard Advisory. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
My pleasure, Kristin. Thank you so much for having me.